All right, welcome back to Triple Threat Wrestling. My name is Jarvis Sam. You can call me Wrestling Brother. Either one doesn't matter. I've been called worse. Trust me on that one. But this is Triple Threat Wrestling presents the SmackDown Highlight Show, where we're going to cover the highlights of SmackDown each and every week, breaking down the most important components of those episodes. But before we get into it, make sure if this is your first time here that you hit that like and subscribe button so that you can know when we drop content because we're going to be dropping content for you like crazy, especially over these next few months. This is the absolute best time to become a wrestling fan or to rejoin the wrestling bandwagon because we're in Mania season, we're in Rumble season. So a lot of good stuff is going to happen over the next few months. So let us be a part of that journey with you guys. So hit that like and subscribe button. Also, hit the notification bell. That way, you don't have to guess when we drop. We're going to let you know when we drop. So you don't have to worry about it. So turn on the notification bell, hit like, hit subscribe, and just check out this great content. Last night's episode of SmackDown was heavily centered around a couple of different themes. One, that we have a new world heavyweight champion in Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes is no longer the champion. That's no longer a thing. The other thing this show was built around was determining who's going to move on to that fatal four-way match at Saturday night's main event next week to then challenge for Drew McIntyre's newly won heavyweight championship at the Royal Rumble. So let's get into it. So we had four qualifying matches. We had Randy Orton versus The Miz. We had Trick Williams versus Zack Ryder. Nope. Oh, no, not Zack Ryder. Not Zack Ryder. Not Zack Ryder. No, it's not Zack Ryder. Yes, it's Zack Ryder. The way they treated him, it's Zack Ryder. Um, so we had that match. We had Solo versus Damian Priest. And then we had Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov. This was a very wrestling centric show, which, when this 3 hour format is to be expected, I I will say this. So far in this iteration of the 3 hour SmackDown, it has not been bad. The shows still feel every bit as long as 3 hours. You feel every minute of that 3 hours, but you're not bored to death. So they've been doing some good things. So kudos to Triple H and the team for starting to get it right with this 3 hour format. I'm gonna knock on wood that they keep it going because it's been tolerable. It's been watchable because let's be honest, at the end of last year there were episodes of SmackDown that were only 2 hours that were largely not watchable. So kudos. All right, so let's get into the four qualifying matches because they went exactly like we thought they would. Randy Orton defeated The Miz. Um, that's the only way that match had a that was the one match I would say there was no question of who was winning that one going in. Absolutely there was nothing that the Miz going over in that match would have been nuts. Then we had Trick Williams versus Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona. This is the matchup I thought they should have kept these two apart because neither one of them needed to eat a loss right now. If you're trying to reestablish Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona as a credible person, and Matt Cardona is going to be one of those guys that you can kind of flex anywhere. He's a seasoned guy. He can talk on the mic. He's decent in the ring. Like he can do all the things. So you can plug him anywhere, and really losses don't hurt him necessarily because we know him to lose more than anything else. But I thought reestablishing him after his TNA run, it didn't make sense to put him opposite of Trick Williams because Trick Williams is another person that you've got to protect. Now, when you're looking at both of these guys and who's going to be like the guy, it's going to be Trick Williams. I think WWE sees a vision with Trick Williams. He's an absolute star. I'll say it right now. I think Trick Williams is the best thing to happen to SmackDown since the original Bloodline storyline. He's over. You've got the crowd doing the whoop that trick. I mean, just absolute star presence, charisma, everything you need. He is cranking on all cylinders. They've got a major, major mega star on their hands with Trick Williams. Triple H, I'm looking at you, Triple H. Do not fumble Trick Williams. I will never forgive you if you fumble Trick Williams. Again, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque. If you fumble Trick Williams, I will never forgive you. Okay. Anyway, Trick Williams goes over in that match. That's the only outcome that could have been. I do believe they should have separated the two, but no harm, no foul. We get what we get. Trick Williams moves on. We had Solo Sikoa versus Damian Priest. This match was better than I expected it to be. Um, I I think this match, honestly, I would have preferred Solo win. I'm a Solo guy. I'm a bloodline kind of guy. Like I like the guys that um and I know Damian Priest. Here's the thing about Damian Priest. Damian Priest is definitely a good hand, but without a crew around him, without any support, without a mouthpiece, he just doesn't have that next level. He just something about him just screams mid card. Knew that with him going over in the ambulance match a couple weeks ago with Aleister Black, that for him to get that win, he must have been moving on to something else. So this is that something else. They knew he was going to be in contention for the World Heavyweight Championship, so they had him go over on Aleister Black. Damian Priest is needs a heel turn and needs a mouthpiece. Absolutely needs a mouthpiece. I think he's kind of in that same vein that Undertaker was in. He has, everybody calls him, the bisexual taker. Well, he is that in many ways. Undertaker needed that Paul Bearer mouthpiece for most of his career. He did develop into a decent promo in latter years, especially when he was the American Badass. But largely, he needed that mouthpiece. I think that's what Damian Priest needs if he's going to be at that level again. It was a good experiment. I think he did a decent job as champion, but again, not being a quality person on the mic, especially leading a brand like Monday Night Raw during the time he did with so many of the top stars not actually being on the programming, it kind of hurt him a little bit. But anyway, Damian Priest goes over. This was a fairly entertaining match. We got interference from Talatonga, who eventually gets ejected, and then the rest of the MFTs come out, and then the Wyatt Six come out and try to repossess their lantern that Solo Sikoa took the prior week, which ends up costing Solo Sikoa the match ultimately, and Damian Priest is going to go on to the Fatal Four Way next week. One footnote on the lantern angle. It's so new generation era. That you talk about two factions that you could totally get more life out of if you were actually working them properly. But instead, both groups seem like low level, like bottom of the mid card acts because of how they're presented. And here in 2026, we are giving this new generation era storytelling with this freaking lantern because it's nothing but rinse and repeat Undertaker and the Urn from 1994, 1995 era, right? At some point, Kama Mustafa or whatever his name was, the guy that Charles Wright, the guy that played Godfather and Papa Shango and the Supreme Fighting Machine, and when he melted Undertaker's urn and made it a gold chain. Like, let's not do that with this. Um, but to each his own. They're giving him something to do. That I think there's much more compelling storytelling that can be done with those two factions. But here we are. And then the final match was Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov. If you remember, they gave us a classic a couple months ago for the U.S. Championship when Sami Zayn was doing the U.S. Championship Opens. And then he kind of passed the baton or the torch to Ilya Dragunov after they gave like a 25-minute match. This match was significantly shorter. I think we all had an idea of what the outcome was going to be because I think ultimately Sami Zayn is going to win the Fatal Four Way match next week at Saturday Night's Main Event, and he's going to go on to face Drew McIntyre in Saudi Arabia for that championship. You got to think about it. Sammy's going to be a heavy favorite just because they're going to be in Canada. He's a hometown hero there. And then the love he gets in Saudi Arabia. So those are going to be his moments. I know a lot of people, 8 to 12 months ago were saying Sami Zayn's probably going to win the Royal Rumble this year because it's in Saudi Arabia. But after after Jay Uso won last year, I don't think they're going to go with such a. I don't want to say Sammy's not a safe bet, but he's not as safe as a Roman or honestly even a Bronson Braun Breaker. Like he's not that because that these guys are going to be in the main event. You know that this would be a moment for Sami Zayn. It wouldn't be this long story arc that's going to carry the company for years to go. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's going to be his Saudi Arabia moment, and I think he's going to have to bask in that glory. And I think it'll be a great match. So the show opened up with Drew McIntyre, the first time he's able to walk out in front of an audience as the world heavyweight champion. And he comes out with an ensemble of bagpipe players. And it was a mania like entrance for him. He truly deserved that. If you remember, when so in 2020, I went to the Royal Rumble. It was in Houston, Texas. He won that Royal Rumble, and as we know, about a month and a half later, the world completely shut down. So he had his crowning moment. He beat Brock Lesnar for the championship, but then it was in front of just a cameraman and us, the WWE universe at home. And then again, he won the championship again at WrestleMania when CM Punk was doing commentary, and he won for the he won that match, but then Damian Priest then cashes in on him because he was so fixated on his hatred towards CM Punk. So this was his first time having that, and he got a hero's welcome. And they're overseas, and he got just a crazy ovation. He ends up cutting a promo and makes sure he got his heat back, and he said, "Hey, you can shove this. Forget you guys. Like you weren't there for me when I was getting screwed by the bloodline, and you weren't there for me when I got fired. So don't jump on the bandwagon now because I'm hot." Randy Orton then comes out, and then that's what ended up turning into the Randy Orton Miz matchup. That's what happened. Good segment. It was perfect for Drew getting love like that. I think honestly, I think he's gonna get love moving forward. I think crowds are gonna be cheering him. And I hope that the writers and Triple H are listening to the fans. And hey, this is kind of what we've been waiting for. Remember in 2024, Drew McIntyre was superstar of the year. He put WWE on his back and just cooked with promo after promo and just being great. Drew McIntyre is great. We also got a U.S. title championship open challenge where we saw Carmelo Hayes taking on Leon Slater. Now, notably, Leon Slater was pulled from the TNA AMC debut. I guess it was Thursday night. And I'm also hearing that he's not going to be on their pay per view this weekend, Genesis, because he had to fly for a match with the more important company. It was a good match. He went 50-50 with Carmelo Hayes for the most part, really positioning them as kind of equals. And hey, Carmelo Hayes gets another victory. It was a good match. It probably went 10, 11 minutes, I would say, but it was a solid match. Now, I personally believe that the open challenge has ran its course. I I know I may be in the minority on that. I thought it was great when John Cena did it, like it was phenomenal. It was great when Sami Zayn did it. I think Ilya Dragunov, it made sense for Ilya Dragunov because you reestablished him and you really got to get him over with his work in the ring because we don't see a whole lot of layers of his personality. So getting him over in the ring made sense. He had great matches with a lot of different people and it worked for him. But now with someone like Carmelo Hayes, who I think has levels to his personality, can cut a promo, is awesome in the ring. If you ask me, he is this generation's HBK, but I can tell you right now, HBK wasn't doing intercontinental open challenges. He was in storylines that were helping get him over. And I think that he's that type of person where you can get him over through storytelling. But I'm Mr. Push for Diversity in 2026. So I'm going to leave well enough alone. He's getting TV time. He's getting over. The fans are feeling him. So I'm going to leave well enough alone and I'm not going to complain. But I do believe the open challenges ran its course. They'll probably continue the open challenge until eventually somebody that's a heel strips Carmelo Hayes of that championship. I would imagine the story that they're trying to tell is that Trick Williams is coming in. Maybe he's going to fall short of winning the championship in the fatal four in the because he's going to lose in the fatal four way, and now he's got to find another path to Mania, and he's probably going to beat Carmelo Hayes at Mania. Um, I kind of want better for Trick Williams. I think Trick Williams can be positioned right in the mix of the title picture, which he is, but it is a kind of a congested title scene right now. So he'll be a Mania. If they do things right, Trick Williams will be a Mania headliner, and probably next year or two. So I guess we can pump the brakes and allow him to win the U.S. Championship. I have a feeling that's where they're going to go. We got Jordan Grace versus Chelsea Green. I love Jordan Grace. I also love Chelsea Green. I did not need. I didn't. When you bring up a Jordan Grace, establish her against Kiana James, establish her against somebody else, not somebody that I think we can be elevating in Chelsea Green as well. Anyway, Jordan Grace gets the win, and she made her like purpose and mission known that hey Jade, I'm coming for that championship. And there's even the visual of her holding that championship up. So I'm not sure which way they're gonna go. Jordan Grace is gonna be she's her. She's one of them ones. So let's see where they go with that. But with that, lastly, we got a Cody Rhodes promo. It's his first promo since losing the WWF championship. Um, I had been seeing reports that, Cody might not be turning heel, but they're gonna add some layers to his character. I think last night was an indication of where we need to go with Cody Rhodes because the fans started booing Cody Rhodes in spots. Especially when he was trying to be, I was your champion in this promo. He was like, I was not just the company's champion, I was your champion. And they started booing that corny shit, which I loved it. Boo that corny shit. Like, there's no need for that. Just go out. Like, why would you say that you just lost the freaking title? Now, the other thing that happened in this promo, it only took Cody Rhodes losing his championship. It only took Cody Rhodes to lose his freaking championship for somebody to say, hey, there's a Royal Rumble coming up. I can throw my name in the hat and get right back in the mix. Cody Rhodes is somebody that's already won two of those. So he likes his chances of winning that. And, he's one of the top guys. So he's probably going to get preferential treatment with, one of those 24, 25, 26, 27 number in the Royal Rumble. So he's got to like his chances of winning the Royal Rumble. Later in the night, Jacob Fatu comes out after taking out Flip Wilson, Kit Wilson, whatever his name is. He took him out, and then he cuts a promo and he says, Cody Rhodes, bring your ass out here. And Cody Rhodes brought his ass out there. And we did a Triple H special, another pull apart. Pull apart. This one felt good though. This one had, it felt chaotic. It had this it felt like it wasn't supposed to happen, the way they kind of cut it right to commercial break. But there was a pull apart segment there where it took all the security jabronis and all the people to keep them apart. And then they make it official for Saturday night's main event. It's going to be Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes. I don't know if this is foreshadowing that Jacob knows Cody hit him with the car, or we're just going to go right past that since maybe Jacob doesn't know and we're just going to do that. But I mean, you would think the angle would be for Jacob Fatu to come in and want revenge on whoever took him out. But hey, if you're going to be opposite of Cody Rhodes on a Saturday night's main event, I think that's a good look. Now, can Jacob Fatu take a loss to Cody Rhodes? And is Cody Rhodes gonna put Jacob Fatu, like, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen there. I think it'll be a good match. I think it's a good look for Jacob Fatu to be featured in this segment. And I think they're trying him out to see if he is who he is and if he can really hang in this main event scene with these top guys. Well, anyway, thanks for rocking with us this long. I know if you've been rocking with us, you've been checking out my shirt. It says one and only. It's one of my favorite Roman Reigns shirts. There's an affiliate link down in the comments or in the caption. There's an affiliate link where you can get all your WWE merch. And hey, it won't cost you extra, but you end up supporting our channel by doing that. So get on there and get your one and only Roman Reigns shirt off that affiliate links at www.shop.com. Check us out. Again, stay tuned in. If you stayed this long, that means you like what we did today. And so you want to return. So again, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're going to be dropping this content. And when you hit that notification bell, guess what? It takes the guesswork out of when we dropping, because it's going to come right to your phone. It's going to come right to your device, and we're going to be right back here. So we got a lot of content coming. As again, this is the heaviest season for WWE. It's the most exciting time of the year as we are in the thick of Rumble season. Which is the road to WrestleMania. So thank you for being on that journey with us, and we will catch you next time.